Assalamualaikum and welcome to the next video of Introduction to Euclids Geometry. So in the last class we had started this chapter and I gave you the basic definition of what is geometry and who is Euclid. So we'll continue with the next points that Euclid's geometry has, or what important structures Euclid explained in his book called as Elements. We saw that in the last class. Let us quickly revise what we have learned. So we were speaking about solids. Solids are rigid structures. There are no intermolecular spaces. All the molecules are very tightly packed in a solid. Every solid is made up of surfaces, right? So we saw example of a cube. Cube has 6 surfaces, right? And so that is the next point. And after surfaces we have edges. That means every surface has an edge. So this is an edge. This is an edge. This is an edge, and again this is an edge. There are 4 surfaces of this. There are 4 edges for this surfaces, and there are 6 surfaces for this solid. Now every edge has a starting point and ending point. So edges are made up of points. So all these are called as dimensions. Okay. So what does it mean? That means surfaces, edges, and points are called as dimensions. Now solids have 3 dimensions. Which are those 3 dimensions? Solids have surfaces also, solids have edges also, solids have points also. So solids have 3 dimensions. Which are those 3 dimensions? Surfaces, edges, points. Correct? We'll come to surfaces now. Surfaces have 2 dimensions. Which are those 2 dimensions? Surfaces are made up of edges and every edge has a point. So in surfaces we have edges also and we have points also. So the number of dimensions in a surface are 2. Those 2 dimensions are edges and points. Edges can also be called as lines, not a problem. Next we'll come to edges. Edges has only 1 dimension, that means edges is made up of points. Edges have 1 dimension and that dimension is only edges. Points, sorry. Lastly, points. Points are nothing. Points have no dimensions. So there are 0 dimensions or no dimensions in points. So it's a very important concept to remember. We are talking about solids. Solids have 3 dimensions: surfaces, edges, and points. That means a solid is made up of surfaces. Surfaces have edges and every edge has a point. And all the 3 things can be found in a solid. If we speak only about surface, surface has only 2 dimensions. That is, surface is made up of lines or edges, and every line or edge is made up of points. So 2. And edges has only 1 dimension, which is points. That means every edge or line is made up of only points. Points are the most small structure, the smallest structures, and they are not made up of anything. Therefore, the number of dimensions in a point is 0. So the smallest structure that we get from a solid is a point. So after learning this, there are some important points that we need to know in Euclid's geometry. Let us discuss them. Kindly make a note like this so that it will be easy for you to understand while studying. Okay. So one is a point is that which has no part. What does it mean? It means that points have no dimensions. The point cannot be divided further into anything. That example, if I have any solid can be now divided as surfaces, that can be now separated as edges, then it can be separated to points. But after points there is nothing, so point has no part. Second is a line is breadthless length. Line is breadthless length. What does it mean? That means when you draw a line, you have only length of the line, but there is no breadth. Example, if I have a rectangle, this will be length and this will be breadth. So in a line, there can be no breadth but only length. Length can go up to any distance. So a line is breadthless length. That means there is no breadth when you draw a line. It can be only length. So that is the second point. Third is the ends of a line are points. That means if I have a line, so the end of this line is a point, and here also the end is a point. Okay. Next, a straight line is a line in which evenly with points on itself. A straight line is made up of points that lie evenly. That means if I have a straight line, there is a starting point and there is an ending point, and here all the entire line is made up of points. That means if there are no points in between, the line cannot be made. And these lines are made, these points are laid evenly. It means they have to come in the same direction. I can't have, example, if I have 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point here, what will happen? Do you think this is a straight line? It can't be a straight line. So we should have points that lie evenly. That means they all lie in the same position on the same surface. That is the point that we studied. And a surface is that which is length and breadth only. So what does a surface mean? Surface means it has length and it has breadth. So if this is a surface, if I take this surface, this has length and this has breadth. So a surface is a structure that has both length and breadth. But when we speak about line has only length, no breadth. When we speak about a surface, it has both length and breadth. So edges of surface are lines. What are lines? Lines means these edges. 1 edge, 2 edge, 3 edges, 4 edges. These edges are called as lines. Next, plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. Plane surface, it's a very important thing to remember. I'll give you one simple example to understand what is a plane structure. Consider this board and consider this marker. I can't call this marker as a plane structure because it is round, okay? But I can call, this is cylindrical in shape, but I can call this board as plane structure or plane surface because it has clean edges. See, up 1 edge, 2, 3 and 4. So there are 4 edges. And can I tell which are the edges in this marker? You can't, because it is cylindrical in shape. You can't tell where starting point and ending point, where is a line, where is an edge, you can't tell. So this is not an example of a plane structure. So when we speak plane structures, they need to have clear surfaces. Okay, plane surfaces, if we have, only then we can call them as such plane structures. When we speak about solids, even this is a solid and this board is also a solid, but we'll have to consider only those solids that have plane surfaces. We can't talk about solids that don't have plane surfaces. So these are the points that we studied in today's class. In the next class, we'll be studying about axioms and postulates. So already studied that in 8th standard. Try to recall so that it will be easy for us to recall it quickly in the next class. Please write down these points in your classwork. Thank you for watching the video.